Hello, welcome to Level Change channel. My name is Claudio Fonseca. I'm a real world 777 pilot, and today this is episode number 2 from our 777 virtual ground course. We are going to talk about electrical power up supplementary procedure and ground condition air use supplementary procedure. You will know soon why I bring these two contents at this stage. So our previous video on episode number 1, we made sure our airplane was completely cold and dark. So if we go inside our airplane, you will see that everything is off. To start this procedure, I have to tell you that usually what we are doing today is performed by maintenance. It's very rare that in real life the pilots they have to comply and to perform these procedures. If they have to do it, usually they take the supplementary procedure and they read and do the procedure step by step. Usually maintenance is more used to do it, so they know usually by heart how to do it. And then before starting this procedure, maintenance need to choose what kind of electrical and air conditioning is going to be supplied to this airplane. That's why I'm going to bring you this screen right now. So when we are talking about ground connections, we need to know we need two different types of external connections to give electrical power and air conditioner to this airplane. So the first one is the GPU. The GPU is going to provide alternate current electrical power. It's required for you to start all the procedures on this airplane. And the second one is the ACU, air conditioning unit, and this is going to give you air conditioning in case you need. Usually you need air conditioning when the temperature is too low or when the temperature is too high. You need a good environment for the engineers to work, for the pilots, and also, of course, cabin crew and passengers. So you need this airplane to be in a good temperature before starting your procedures. If you are going to need air conditioning and an air conditioning external unit is not available, you can use airplane systems like the APU to provide you alternate current electric power and the air conditioning. So first you need to decide what you are going to use. Today, as we are in São Paulo, this is a big airport. We are assuming that we have both the GPU and the ACU available for our flight today. So let's go back to our flight simulator, and the first thing that we have to do is to connect our systems. However, you want to make sure a couple of things are off before connecting this, especially when we are talking about air conditioning unit and especially before turning off our GPUs to on. So you want to move to your overhead panel and you want to make sure that packs are off, and in case ACU is going to be connected, you need to turn recirculation fans to off. I'm going to explain you very soon what this does. Then here on the sim we have to move to our tablet. We go to ground operations and ground connections, and then you need to select the ground power type. Usually in São Paulo what we have is a dual GPU plugs, so we can request. So the ground power is connected right in the front of the airplane, right side. And today we have air conditioning unit we can request. It is connecting, and the air conditioning unit is going to be on the left side, usually close to the second door. Let's go outside and we are going to see this. So right now we have our electrical ground power unit connected and our air conditioning unit connected. Let's go again to our cockpit and then let's start our electrical power up, the items that we have to do inside the airplane. Remember, everything that we did so far by connecting everything, it is something that you have to do outside of the airplane. And if you did the secure and the electrical power down correctly, your packs are already off. So once you start your electrical power up, you need to take your battery to on. Now once you turn on your battery, you have more switches available to you, like the generator controls and so on. However, the external primary power available light and the secondary external power available light, they turn on independently of the battery switch. Okay, so this is not going to turn these switches on. They are on as soon as you have an external power connected. So after the battery switch, you want to check that your C1 and C2 primary pump switches are off. We do this because these two pumps, they are electrically powered, so if they are on and you turn your primary external power and or your secondary external power, those pumps will start to operate. Then you want to check that your demand pump selectors, the 4 of them, they are off. These are the 4 demand pump selectors. The left is an electric one, the right is an electric one. It's the same case from the primary electrical ones. You want them in the off position because once you turn electrical power on, you don't want these pumps to operate. The other two that you are checking are the C1 and C2 air demand pumps. You also want them in the off position because in case you do not have GPU or you have to start your APU during your electrical power up, you want to make sure that these pumps are not operating with pneumatic pressure once the APU is started. Next step are the wiper selectors. This is the left wiper and this is the right wiper. You don't want to scratch your windshield. So if those two switches, any of them, are in any other position, you may scratch your windshields once you apply electrical power. The next step, we need to go further down to our main panel and make sure our landing gear lever is in the down position. Maybe due to some maintenance procedure, you had to take it up for a reason. So now you are starting a new flight, you want to make sure it's in the down position, and of course the airplane is on the ground, the landing gear should be down. The last step before applying electrical power is to check that the alternate flap selector is in the off position. This is the alternate flap selector. You have 3 options here: retract, off, and extend. So you want to make sure this is in the off position, so then it doesn't matter what you are doing with the alternate flap master switch. If you keep it in off, the flaps, they are not going to electrically move, extending or retracting. Now is the time to establish electrical power. To establish electrical power, you need to go all the way to the overhead panel again and make sure that the bus tie switches, the left bus tie and the right bus tie, is in the auto position. Then you need to make your choice from the beginning of the video. Are you going to use external ground power, or you are going to use the airplane auxiliary power unit? If you want the airplane auxiliary power unit, you just need to take this switch to start and release it to on, and make sure APU generator is on. Note, in all normal operation of the Boeing 777, APU generator always stays in the on position. You only turn APU generator off in case of maintenance and no normals. So, if you have the right procedure, APU generator should be on already, and then you start your APU. However, today, temperature outside is quite low. We need air conditioning. The external air conditioning is already connected, and we are going to use the GPU to have electrical power on this airplane. So, primary external power switch, it is illuminated, a veil light is illuminated. You push, you have it on. And secondary external power, it's available. You push, you have it on. Note that displays will start to pop up with time. Right now, we have our ISFD already on. In a few seconds, you are going to see that the FMCs, they start to show up. And later on, you are going to have the main displays turned on. Also, the airplane is going to perform a lot of self-tests to make sure everything is working, and is going to give you status information if you have any problem related to any system. Before we go further, I want to tell you something about our external use of air conditioning. So in this case, we are talking about supplementary procedure, air system, air conditioning packs, and the ground use of air conditioning packs. So this is the procedure. If we talk about ground conditioned air use, what we want is, before connecting ground conditioning air, you need to keep the packs off. Why you keep the packs off? Because this prevents the pack operation when conditioned air is supplied to the airplane. And the reason for this is because the pack or the pack components can be damaged if operated with conditioned air. Step 2, recirculation fans, both to off. If you didn't do it before, you can do it now. It's not a big issue if you connect the the ground conditioned air with the recirculation fan still on, because this step allows conditioned air unit to operate at maximum efficiency. So you are not damaging your airplane if recirculation fan switches, they are still on. Okay, so if you did the procedure the way it was supposed to be, if you turn off the airplane the way it was supposed to be, your packs would be off anyway. Okay, and then once you connect the external air conditioning, you can come here and turn the recirculation fans upper and lower to off. Basically, this is going to stop recirculating air around the airplane, and you will always get fresh air from your external ground conditioning unit or your air conditioning unit. That's why you want this off, to improve efficiency. But if they are on, you are not damaging your system. You are just not using it at the best. So keep it off. The same procedure tells you that if you want, or after disconnecting the ground conditioning air, this is the time that you are going to take your packs to auto and your recirculation fans to on. Note that Boeing even writes this in bold. So after disconnecting the ground conditioning air, so you take the pack switches back to auto and recirculation fan switches both to 1. So the pack switch is a must because it can be damaged, and the recirculation fans is to operate at maximum efficiency. So these two steps, they are separated. One is mandatory, the other one is not, but is highly recommended. So this is how we proceed with our external air conditioning unit. If we go all the way down here and we go to our air conditioning, it's not working. Let me just show you here. So if we go to the air conditioning, right now we can see that our external temperature is 13, which is a low temperature. So because we have air conditioning connected to this airplane, we have cockpit temperature at 24 and the cabin temperature today between 23 and 21 degrees. So this is achieved by the air conditioning unit that is connected on the airplane, even though, and by procedure, packs are off, because you are not using the air conditioning from the airplane, you are using the external air conditioning that is connected to the airplane. I hope you liked this video, and I hope you also understood that this is usually performed by maintenance personnel before crew arrive to the airplane. And of course, they also need air conditioning because they also need to work in the cockpit, they also need to work around the airplane, and this also prepares the airplane for boarding. Most of the places around the world nowadays, there is a requirement for you to keep the APU off when you are on the ground. So after arriving, few minutes after airplane arrival, you need to take your APU off. So to take your APU off, you need an external ground power unit and one external air conditioning unit in case the temperature is too low or too high. So those are the steps that you need to do after airplane arrival, or just after you arriving at the airplane to perform the electrical power up. So this procedure is the same after the flight and is the same before the flight. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and I see you on episode number 3 soon. Bye bye.